College Nationals is one of the best ultimate frisbee tournaments every year. This 20-team, 4-day tournament has the best teams in the nation facing off to see who is crowned as the college champion. There are 4 pools, with each consisting of 5 teams. There will be a round robin occurring over 2 days where the top 3 teams in each pool make the championship bracket, and each pool winner gets a bye to the quarterfinals. Before we start, let me know what kind of content you want to see in the future. Let me know what you like, dislike, or if you have any thoughts, ideas, tips, or suggestions by commenting them below. If you do like this content, make sure to subscribe. Now, on to the recap. Pool A went down to the wire. Entering their last round of games, the only thing that was certain is that UMass Zudisk had already won the pool. Vermont was 1-3 and could only watch and pray for a miracle to make the bracket. UMass faces off against 1-2 Texas Tough, and UMass takes a 15-12 win, ending the game with a Callahan. This puts Texas at 1-3, and regardless of other outcomes, they were not able to make the bracket. As UMass was winning, 2-1 Utah Zion Curtain was going blow for blow with 1-2 Oregon State Beavers. Utah already claimed their spot in the bracket, with this game deciding their seeding. Oregon State needs to win in order to make the bracket. If they lose, Vermont claims the 3rd seed in the pool. Oregon State is able to get a late break, which resulted in them starting on offense on Universe. Felix Morin puts up a deep shot to Callahan Bosworth, but he jumps too early. Utah has a chance to win. After fantastic pressure by Oregon State's defense, Will Selfridge is able to score the game-winning goal. Utah Zion Curtain takes down Oregon State. Utah takes 2nd in the pool, with Vermont taking 3rd due to tiebreakers. A heartbreaking way to end the season for Oregon State. Their team is young and they're continuing to develop. They should be back at nationals in the coming years. Pool B is another pool that went down to the last round of the tournament. At this moment, Georgia was 1-3 and could not make the bracket. We have 3-0 Oregon Eagle versus 1-2 Northeastern Huskies, and 2-1 Western Washington Dirt versus 1-2 UC Santa Cruz Slugs. Oregon has already locked up the pool, which resulted in them resting their starters. This leads to Northeastern taking an easy win, going 2-2 in the pool. This win puts much more pressure on UC Santa Cruz to win against Western Washington. The game is back and forth and eventually reaches Universe points. After a Western Washington turn, UC Santa Cruz has a chance to break and win, but they drop the centering pass. Western Washington stuns everybody, taking 2nd place in the pool, with Northeastern taking 3rd. Yet another heartbreaking way to end the season for UC Santa Cruz. And just like Oregon State, this program is on the rise. Expect to see them back at nationals in the near future. Pool C had a highly anticipated game between Colorado Mama Bird and Cal Poly Slowcore. Winner wins the pool. Colorado's rookie Elliot Hawkins comes down with the D. Colorado has their 2nd opportunity to break. After some small ball in the red zone, Colorado puts up a cheeky shot, but Sam Kilgore comes down with it, claiming the first break of the game. The teams trade holds until Colorado's at game point. Ezra Thorson gets a D on a deep ball, and Colorado starts working it up the field. Elliot Hawkins puts up a deep ball to who else but Sam Kilgore, who scores the game-winning goal. Colorado beats Cal Poly Slow and takes 1st in the pool, with Cal Poly Slow taking 2nd. Colorado went 3-1 as they lost on Universe to California Ursa Major, a game in which Colorado was resting their starters since they had already won the pool. This sets California up well to get third in the pool, right? Wrong. A Jack Davis and Aaron Bartlett-led Michigan Magnum upset both British Columbia Thunderbirds and California to claim the third spot in the pool. Aaron Bartlett only played in those 2 pool play games, and he accounted for 18 of the 29 Michigan scores. Bartlett was healthy for the other 2 games, but Michigan rested him to give them the best shot at making the bracket. Strategically, a good decision. Is it ethical? That's for you to decide. Pool D had potentially the game of the tournament, with Carleton Cut facing off against UNC Darkside. Winner wins the pool. UNC gets a break on the first point of the game. Carleton isn't fazed by this. They're able to score and get breaks of their own, mainly on the back of rookie Nate DeMorgan, who had 1 goal and 5 assists during this game. With the score being 13-12, Carleton gets a late break with a Nate DeMorgan hammer to Ryan Dussert. UNC gets a hold of their own and breaks with a Freed-to-Freed connection to send the game to Universe. On Universe, Carleton's rookie handler, Axel Olsen, puts up a beautiful deep shot to Declan Miller to seal the game. Carleton wins the game on Universe and wins the pool. UNC easily wins the rest of their pool play games to claim second in the pool. The battle for third place was not as hectic as the other pools. Ottawa GGs were unable to make a run like the other 5 seeds. The game that decided the third spot in the pool was a game between Washington University Contra and Penn State Spank. Wash U started off the game with a hold and a break, with Penn State claiming 2 breaks of their own before halftime to take an 8-7 lead. The second half is where Penn State starts running, as they get 4 breaks and eventually win the game 15-10, winning on a Callahan. Penn State takes third in the pool and moves on to the bracket. After a hectic pool play, let's take a quick moment to refresh ourselves and look at the stat leaders and top performers of pool play. Now that we have collected ourselves, we move on to the bracket, where the final round of Saturday is PreQuarters. This game was played at 5 p.m., where some teams didn't know if they were playing at this time until mere minutes before the round started. Cal Poly Slow versus Northeastern was over before it started. Slowcore got 3 breaks early and never looked back. They cruised to a 15-8 win. UNC versus Vermont was another game that was over quickly. UNC got an early lead and maintained it. Vermont did have a lot of chances to get breaks, but they were unsuccessful majority of the time. UNC wins 15-10. Penn State versus Utah is a game nobody expected to happen in the bracket. The game starts off calm, with Penn State claiming the only break of the first half. Utah is able to break back to bring the game to 9-9. Penn State took that personally and went on a 5-goal run of their own, eventually winning the game 15-10. The most anticipated pre-quarter matchup is Western Washington versus Michigan, 2 teams who were the 5 seeds in their pool, outperforming their expectations. There are stars on both teams, with Western Washington's Cedar Hines and Elijah Diamond, and Michigan's Aaron Bartlett and James Hill. Michigan gets the first break of the game to take half, leading 8-6. Teams go back and forth in the second half, with Western Washington getting a break to bring the score 14-13. Michigan gets a hold, and then we have Universe. Western Washington beats Michigan and will face UMass in the quarterfinals. This game was star-driven, where Michigan's Aaron Bartlett had 10 assists, and Western Washington ran their offense through Cedar Hines, Elijah Diamond, and Zoli Ishikawa. Diamond had 2 goals and 5 assists in this game alone. This is also the last men's game happening so the majority of the people at the complex were filling the sidelines, making this a wonderful atmosphere to witness. Our quarterfinalists are the 1 through 6 seeds, the 16 seed Penn State and 18 seed Western Washington. Unfortunately for the lower seeds, Penn State and Western Washington's runs come to an end here. Oregon beats Penn State 15-10, and UMass beats Western Washington 15-8. Both Penn State and Western Washington have promising futures. Penn State is returning the majority of their roster, and although Elijah Diamond is a senior for Western Washington, their team has a lot of youth and are in a frisbee hot scene being located near Seattle. Cal Poly Slow versus Carleton is a game where we start to see a lot of crossing over. Nearly every D point for Cal Poly Slow had at least one of Kyle Liu, Anton Orm, or Alex Nelson. Carleton consistently had O-liners on their D points, with Declan Miller and Nate DeMorgan being the two primary players to cross over for most of them. Slowcore gets the first break of the game early on, but Carleton manages to get that break back to take half on Sue. Carleton comes out of the second half hot, breaking Slowcore and taking momentum. The rest of the game is Carleton taking and maintaining control. Slowcore relies too heavily on their stars, and no matter what they do, they're unable to consistently break and score on Carleton. Carleton ends up winning 15-13, and despite the close score, Carleton was in control of this game the entire time. UNC versus Colorado was a game many had their eyes on. These two teams faced off twice in the regular season, with each team claiming a universe point. The game starts off strong, with each team getting a break early on. Colorado is able to have another break opportunity, and Elliot Hawkins takes advantage of it, throwing a huck to Axel Hartzog, taking a 5-3 lead early on. At this point of the game, neither team has control, and they're going blow for blow against each other. Colorado has a chance for a hold, and Matt Barcelos has a layout, poach, block, and UNC has a chance to break and tie the game, which they do. A fun little snippet of the second half is when Sam Kilgore claps at Ben Dameron after getting a D on him.
You deserve a good humbling. Get in there, baby. Let's turn up. Too little. Way too little. Stomping around some Burberry boots. Sliding the pterodactyl inside a red tie. Sliding some red sandals. Yeah, blue diamonds melting a red candle. I'm on the TV different.
A fired up Ben Dameron brings North Carolina to universe on offense, and we have the closest call of the tournament. Was this play up? Was it down? On replay, it's so hard to tell. You don't have the greatest angles from what we saw in the broadcasts, but overall, observers ruled it down. Colorado has a chance to break and win the game and go to the semifinals. They work the disc around and throw up a huck to Zeke Thorson, who lays out and scores the game-winning goal. Mama Bird is going to the semifinals, an amazing game that is must-watch in its entirety. Oregon versus Colorado starts off strong for Mama Bird as they get an early break to who else but Elliot Hawkins. Oregon has many opportunities to get breaks. Colorado throws up a double-team deep ball to Tobias Brooks, but he's unable to come down with it. Oregon has a strong chance to get a break. They work it downfield very well, but slight execution errors is what really caused Oregon to fall down during this game. A missed throw from Aaron Kaplan gives Colorado the ball. Colorado gets an easy hold afterwards, and now Oregon is on offense where they have another execution error. Colorado runs a turbo offense with Tobias Brooks throwing a huck to Elliot Hawkins, who starts to be in the red zone now. Colorado works it up and takes half 8-5. Oregon needs to make a statement out of half, and they do with this ridiculous Raquan Adkins catch in the back of the end zone. This made it onto SportsCenter Top 10. Momentum is what they've started to gain as Tobias Brooks throws a low huck that Raquan Adkins snatches out of the air. Oregon works it downfield and gets a break to bring the game to 9-8. This point is what killed a lot of Oregon's momentum. It was sloppy frisbee from both teams throughout the entire point. It lasted over 7 minutes long, and by the end of it, it made it feel like Oregon was trying to get a break when they had their O-line out there. It seemed like they were trying everything they could do, but failing in each and every way. Oregon is able to get the disc back multiple times, but a lot of it is from Colorado execution errors. Oregon gets the hold, but it didn't feel like a hold at this point. Even though they may have lost momentum, Oregon gets another break, bringing the game to 11-12, and they have another break opportunity soon after. But Levi Tapper has other plans, getting a layout block on the mark. Colorado gets a quick hold, brings the game to 12-14. At this point, Oregon needs a miracle to win, but there's no miracle for ego in sight. Colorado wins 15-12 and will head to the finals for the first time since 2014. For Oregon, they're heading into next year with vengeance, and nearly everyone returning on their roster. Their only senior on the O-line was Chandler Boyd-Fluke. If they can polish up small mistakes, they'll be a very scary team to face next year at Nationals. On the other side, we have Carleton versus UMass. These two teams faced off in the Florida Warm-Up Finals, where Carleton won, and Smoky Mountain Invite Semifinals, where UMass won. The game started off strong for Carleton, getting a break on their first defensive point. UMass is trying to battle back, and they do. Take a look at the score right now. Now take a look. Carleton goes on a 7-1 run and eventually wins the game 15-10. This one play will summarize UMass's gameplay during majority of the semifinals. The first thing to note about the finals is that the camera angles were not good. Since it was broadcasted on ESPN, the camera angles and lighting started off very poor. They didn't have the knowledge that ultiworld had on broadcasting a frisbee. They progressively got better throughout the day, but it started off very bad, as you can see. Despite that, Carleton gets the first and only break of the half on their first defensive point. They eventually take half 8-6, where they're able to get a turnover and a break out of half, taking a 9-6 lead. Very hard to come back from, but it's not something we're unused to seeing at college nationals. Colorado immediately gets a hold and has a chance for a break after an overthrown shot to Declan Miller. Nandamin Fink throws up a Schmidt ball, and Elliot Hawkins comes down as the garbage man to have Colorado get their first break of the game and bring the game to 9-8. Soon after, Tobias Brooks lifts up another deep shot to Tucker Kalmus, who's unable to come down with it. Carleton's offensive possession right afterwards may be the least surprising ultimate frisbee you could see from Carleton Cup this season. Nate DeMorgan catches a slashing under and throws a stall zero huck to Thomas Schoep, who gets the break. Colorado tried to bring momentum back into their team, and it was led by two of their players, Captain Ryan Shigley and defensive menace Zeke Thorson. Shigley had 5 goals and 1 assist in the finals, where Zeke Thorson had 4 blocks, all of which were highlight plays. Zeke Thorson's defense was able to keep Colorado from giving up less breaks, and Shigley's offense kept them in the game. But it wasn't enough for Colorado. With the score being 14-12 in Carleton's favor, Colorado starts on offense and has a pull play set up for their best player, Tobias Brooks. A huck goes up to Tobias Brooks, who's guarded by Declan Miller. Tobias goes up, but it's just a bit early. Carlton starts to work the disc up, and who else would be able to score the game-winning assist? A Nate DeMorgan stall zero huck to Thomas Shope. A classic play for Carlton this year, and a play you'll see for years to come for Cut. Carlton wins the championship 15-12. Carlton Cut finishes off a dominant season with their 5th ever college championship and first since 2017. This team is very young. Their O-line had 3 to 4 rookies on it each point. They will be a title contender for a few years now. Despite that, the other semifinalists, UMass, Oregon, and Colorado, are all returning a lot of key talents. There will not be a clear-cut favorite entering this season, which is wonderful for us fans. I hope you enjoyed Nationals and the college season. Let's start gearing up for the club season.